Welcome to Moonbeam Mysteries, my friend. Welcome to sleep with us. I am Eva, the Moon Fairy. It's time to lie down and get cozy in your beds. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let your body relax. Imagine you are in a peaceful forest, surrounded by tall trees and the gentle sounds of nature. Tonight, I have a special story to share with you about a brave little deer named Shasha. Shasha's story is filled with adventure, courage, and kindness. She lived in a big, magical forest and faced many challenges. But she always found a way to be strong and help others. So, snuggle up with your favorite blanket and let your imagination take you on a journey through the forest with Shasha. Are you ready? Let's begin. Shasha, the Sika deer, was an orphan. From the moment she was born, she had no memory of her parents or any family. The forest, vast and teeming with life, became her home. She would wander through the thick underbrush, past towering ancient trees, and alongside babbling brooks. Each day, she explored new corners of her lush, green world. The forest was a place of wonder, full of vibrant colors and sounds. Birds with feathers as bright as jewels flitted from tree to tree, singing melodious songs. The air was always fresh with the scent of pine and blooming flowers. Butterflies danced in the sunbeams that pierced through the canopy, and squirrels chattered as they darted up and down the trees. Despite the forest's richness, Shasha was always hungry. The other deer, bigger and stronger, often crowded her out. Whenever she found a patch of fresh grass or a low-hanging branch with tender leaves, the older deer would shove her aside, claiming the food for themselves. Shasha would watch, her stomach growling as they feasted. But hunger wasn't Shasha's only challenge. The forest was also home to dangers that lurked in the shadows. Wolves prowled the underbrush, their eyes glinting in the darkness. Tigers, with their striped coats blending into the foliage, would silently stalk their prey. Shasha had to be constantly alert, her ears twitching at every rustle of leaves, her nose sniffing the air for any hint of danger. Every night, as the moon rose and the forest was bathed in silvery light, Shasha would find a safe spot to rest. She would tuck her legs beneath her and lay her head down, eyes wide open and ears alert, listening for any signs of predators. Sleep was often fitful and short, but Shasha knew she had to stay vigilant to survive. Despite the hardships, Shasha was determined. She watched and learned from the forest. She studied how the other animals moved and survived. She discovered hidden glades where the grass was lush and sweet, and secret paths that led to bubbling streams. Slowly, she grew more adept at finding food and avoiding danger. Shasha's persistence paid off. She began to thrive, her once skinny frame filling out with muscle. She was still alone, but she was no longer helpless. She had become a part of the forest, and the forest had become a part of her. One fateful day, as Shasha wandered through a particularly dense part of the forest, she spotted a patch of bright green grass. Her heart leaped with joy, and she bounded towards it, eager for a good meal. But as she stepped into the clearing, the ground suddenly gave way beneath her. She had fallen into a deep pit, cleverly concealed with branches and leaves. Panic set in as she tried to scramble out, but the walls were too steep, and she only managed to scrape her legs on the rough edges. For hours, Shasha lay at the bottom of the pit, her heart pounding with fear. She had never encountered anything like this before. Every rustle of leaves or snap of a twig sent shivers down her spine. She imagined the terrible predators that might come across her in this vulnerable state. Exhausted and in pain, she finally lay still, her large, dark eyes filled with tears. Just as the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the forest, a young hunter named Henry came walking by. Henry was different from the other hunters in the village. He had a kind heart and a deep respect for all the creatures of the forest. As he moved through the woods, he always kept an eye out for any animals in need of help. When Henry heard Shasha's faint cries for help, he quickly followed the sound and discovered the trapped deer. His heart ached at the sight of the frightened and injured young deer. He carefully climbed down into the pit, speaking softly to Shasha to calm her.
"Don't worry, little one. I'm here to help you,"
he whispered. With gentle hands, Henry lifted Shasha out of the trap. She winced in pain as her injured leg was moved, but she sensed that Henry meant no harm. He carried her to a small clearing where he had set up a temporary camp. There, he gently cleaned her wounds and wrapped her leg with strips of cloth torn from his own shirt. Shasha watched him with wide eyes, still scared, but also curious about this strange human who showed her such kindness. Word of Henry's actions soon spread through the village. The other hunters were furious. They gathered in a noisy, angry crowd and marched to Henry's camp, demanding that he hand over Shasha. They saw the young deer as an easy source of meat, especially during the lean times of the year. Henry stood his ground, refusing to give in.
"This deer is still young. She deserves a chance to live and grow. The forest gods do not allow the killing of young animals. It is against the natural balance."
A fierce argument broke out. The other hunters shouted and threatened Henry, but he remained steadfast. His courage and determination began to sway some of the villagers. The village wise men, respected for their knowledge and fairness, stepped forward to support Henry. They reminded everyone of the old legends and the importance of living in harmony with nature.
The forest is not just a place for us to take from.
One of the wise men said,
It is a living, breathing entity that we must respect and protect. If we upset the balance, the forest gods will surely punish us all.
Gradually, the villagers calmed down. They realized that Henry was right. They had been taking too much from the forest without giving anything back. They agreed to let Shasha go and promised to be more mindful of the forest's balance in the future. Under Henry's care, Shasha slowly recovered. Her leg healed, and she grew stronger each day. Henry often talked to her as he worked, sharing stories about the forest and his adventures. Shasha began to trust him, nuzzling his hand with her nose in gratitude. When the time came for her to return to the wild, she left Henry's camp with a newfound sense of hope and courage. After her leg healed and she regained her strength, Shasha returned to the forest. She was no longer the frightened, helpless fawn she once was. Determined to change her life, Shasha set out on a journey to find the god of the forest. She had heard tales from other animals about the wise and powerful deity who protected and guided all the creatures of the woods. The journey was long and fraught with challenges. Shasha ventured into parts of the forest she had never seen before. She traveled through dense undergrowth, over rocky hills, and across wide, rushing rivers. Each day brought new lessons and experiences. One morning, Shasha came across a group of rabbits huddled together, their noses twitching with fear.
What's wrong?
Shasha asked.
A fox has been chasing us. We don't know where to hide.
One of the rabbits replied, trembling. Shasha remembered what she had learned from watching other animals and exploring the forest.
Follow me.
She said. She led the rabbits to a hidden burrow, well concealed by thick ferns.
Stay here and you'll be safe.
The rabbits thanked her, their eyes shining with gratitude. Shasha felt a warm glow of satisfaction. Helping others made her feel braver and more confident. As Shasha continued her journey, she met many more animals in need. A family of hedgehogs trapped in a thorny bush, a young bird that had fallen from its nest, and a group of deer separated from their herd. Each time, Shasha used her growing knowledge and courage to assist them. She learned how to find the best hiding spots, the sweetest grasses, and the safest paths through the forest. One day, Shasha came across an old, wise owl perched high in a tree.
Who are you?
The owl hooted, his eyes gleaming with wisdom.
I am Shasha the Sika deer. I am searching for the god of the forest.
she replied. The owl nodded slowly.
You have already found a part of what you seek. By helping others and learning the ways of the forest, you are becoming wise and brave. The god of the forest sees your actions and is pleased.
Shasha felt a surge of pride and joy. She realized that her journey was not just about finding the god of the forest, but also about discovering her own strength and wisdom. She thanked the owl and continued her quest, her heart filled with newfound determination. As time passed, Shasha became a well-known and respected figure in the forest. She taught the younger animals how to find food, avoid dangers, and live in harmony with their surroundings. She organized gatherings where animals could share their knowledge and experiences, fostering a sense of community and cooperation. Shasha's efforts did not go unnoticed. The animals of the forest began to look up to her as a leader and protector. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she was making a difference. Her days of fear and loneliness were behind her, replaced by a life of purpose and friendship. The god of the forest watched Shasha's progress with great interest. She had grown from a frightened fawn into a courageous and wise guardian of the forest. Her journey had transformed not only herself, but also the lives of many other creatures. One evening, as the sun set and the forest was bathed in golden light, Shasha found herself standing in a beautiful glade. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the sound of a gentle stream nearby. She felt a sense of peace and contentment. Suddenly, a soft voice filled the air.
Shasha, you grow up in wisdom, brave and kind and fearless. You have an indomitable spirit, a smart brain, and a firm belief. Facing danger, you are braver than a tiger, and your heart is warmer than the sun. These shining spirits will lead you to the forest god, and you will protect this forest with me.
Shasha looked around, but saw no one. Yet, she felt the presence of something greater, something powerful and benevolent. She bowed her head in gratitude. The forest god spoke to her and acknowledged her efforts. With a heart full of joy and a spirit strengthened by her journey, Shasha knew that she would continue to protect and guide the creatures of the forest. She had found her purpose and her place in the world. One hot summer day, a severe drought gripped the forest. The once vibrant and lush landscape now seemed parched and weary. Leaves wilted, streams dried up, and the air was thick with the scent of dust and dry earth. The animals of the forest struggled to find food and water, their usual sources depleted by the relentless heat. Shasha noticed the signs of distress among the animals. She could see the fear and anxiety in their eyes. Determined to help, she led the animals to hidden water sources she had discovered during her journey. She showed them where to find the last patches of green grass and the few remaining berries. Her leadership and knowledge helped many survive the harsh conditions. But one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a new threat emerged. Far on the other side of the forest, a wildfire broke out. The flames, fueled by the dry conditions, spread rapidly, consuming everything in their path. The sky turned orange and thick with smoke, and the scent of burning wood filled the air. Shasha immediately sprang into action. She ran through the forest, her hooves pounding the dry ground as she called out to the animals.
Fire, fire, run to safety.
Her voice echoed through the trees, reaching even the smallest and most hidden creatures. The animals, trusting Shasha, followed her lead and fled from the advancing flames. In the midst of the chaos, Shasha heard a cry for help. She followed the sound and found a young wolf trapped by fallen branches, unable to escape. It was the cub of one of the wolves that had once terrorized her. For a moment, Shasha hesitated, memories of fear and danger flashing through her mind. But she knew that every life in the forest was precious, regardless of the past. With a deep breath, Shasha approached the young wolf.
Hold on, I'm here to help you.
She said softly. Using all her strength, she pushed and pulled at the branches until the wolf cub was free. The young wolf looked at her with wide, grateful eyes, and Shasha felt a surge of compassion and pride. As the fire raged on, Shasha continued to guide the animals to safety. Her bravery and quick thinking saved countless lives. Exhausted but determined, she led the last group of animals to a large clearing where the flames could not reach. Suddenly, the sky darkened even more, and the first drops of rain began to fall. The rain quickly turned into a heavy downpour, drenching the forest and extinguishing the wildfire. The animals watched in awe as the flames were subdued by the heavy rain. Shasha stood in the clearing, her fur soaked, but her spirit unbroken. A gentle voice filled the air.
Shasha, your bravery, wisdom, and kindness have moved me. You have shown true courage and a deep love for all the creatures of this forest. For this, I name you the guardian of the forest.
Shasha looked around, realizing that the voice belonged to the god of the forest. She felt a warm, comforting presence surrounding her. She bowed her head, overwhelmed with gratitude and humility. The animals cheered and gathered around her, celebrating their new guardian. From that day forward, Shasha continued to protect and guide the forest and its inhabitants. She taught them the importance of harmony and respect for nature. Her legacy as the brave and kind guardian of the forest lived on, inspiring generations of animals to come. Thank you for listening to the story of Shasha the deer. I hope you enjoyed her adventures and learned something about bravery and kindness. As you lie in your cozy bed, think about the peaceful forest and the wonderful friends Shasha made. Remember, just like Shasha, you can be brave and kind every day. Now, it's time to close your eyes and let your dreams take you on your own magical adventures. Good night, little ones. Sleep well and sweet dreams. I'll see you again for another story soon.